Hi guys, welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. I'm so glad that you've come to this channel today because we're going to be looking at the monitoring and evaluation plan, which I've been using for quite some time now. And if you're here for the very first time, please do well to subscribe to this channel because on a regular basis, I post updates in relation to monitoring and evaluation. I'm so glad that you're here today, and I'm so happy that I've been receiving a lot of support from different people across the world. They've been sending me emails, inquiring about the coaching program, inquiring about M&D. So I'm so glad that you've always been coming there. You've been there for me. So right now, guys, I want to urge you that the template which I want to run you through is a template I developed myself after cross-referencing from other templates out there. I want to run you through this template, but please watch the video until the end because I want to give you the link to the template where you can download this template. Okay, so if you're unfortunately today I won't use any timestamps, but if you really want to go straight to download the template, so just click on the YouTube video bar to the end of this video. I'll be explaining the link to this template. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's get straight into business. So this template is very good, is very useful in the work that you do as monitoring and evaluation professionals. You can edit. Usually what you have to do is insert your logo here. Okay, it's always good to have an organization logo. It's also good to insert the name of the project or the organization. Remember, the monitoring and evaluation plan can either be for a project, specifically designed for a project, or it can be for an organization. So of course you need to insert your date there. So now, these are the table of contents, okay? You should have your executive summary, you should have your acronyms, you should have your glossary of terms, which are simply the definitions, introduction, background, purpose of the M&D plan, and so on and so forth. So we're going to look at this to see what exactly we are talking about here. So the executive summary, usually you write it after you've written the whole document. Okay, the reason is that if you write it first, you might miss points which could have been in the main text. So what I usually recommend is that first of all, write the body, then come up with the executive summary after you've done everything. So usually the executive summary just gives you a summary of what this document is about, especially to a reader who probably doesn't have time. They can use the executive summary just to see exactly, you know, what is there in this document. Why is it so different? Why should I be using this document in the implementation of projects or in my organization? Okay, so you have the executive summary there. Then the acronyms, okay, the acronyms, whatever you've been using in your document, ensure that you list all your acronyms in this section here. Okay, so for instance, an acronym such as M&E can be listed here. You simply say that this is monitoring and evaluation. Glossary of terms. Okay, so now the glossary of terms is different from the acronyms. Here, what you're simply trying to do is explain key terms. So for instance, we get back to the M&E. What does monitoring and evaluation mean? You simply need to explain what monitoring and evaluation really means. What is an M&E plan? You simply explain what a monitoring and evaluation plan is in the context of this document. It's usually important for you to only include definitions that appear in the document. If they're not in the document, please don't include any definition of terms in this section. Okay, so now let's get to the nitty-gritties. In your introduction, you know, I've seen many people have their own way of doing the introduction, but I feel that for a document like this, you have to have an introduction that includes the background, the purpose of the M&D plan, and the overview of the project. So the background, what you're simply trying to do is explain why this document is important, why it was created, and then how it links to the whole organization. So you give a bit of a background, you give a bit of what activities were undertaken leading to the fulfillment of this document. So the purpose of the M&D plan, I like to think of it as the objectives. Of course, the purpose, if you come to think critically of what purpose means, we are simply talking about what do we want to achieve with this plan at the end of the day. Remember, guys, if this M&D plan is for the project, a project has a lifespan. So if a project is running for 2 to 3 years, that's its lifespan. So the M&D plan will be aligned to that lifespan, which is 2 to 3 years, for example. So what that will mean is that at the end of the project implementation phase, your purpose would have been that you should have actually been able to monitor and evaluate the project and produce the deliverables of the M&D interventions. And that those deliverables could be the monitoring reports, could be the evaluation reports, and it could also be the lessons learned and continuous improvement. So you have to, I feel you need to elaborate more about the purpose of this plan, because sometimes it's underrated, as M&D usually is sometimes. So please try to elaborate more there. You give an overview of the project. Very important, okay? So the project, when you're giving your overview, you need to, I feel you need to include the logical framework matrix. I don't think you need to write so much about the project. Just put in the LFA, because the LFA gives you just a summary. It's easy to follow, and then I guess it's just easy. It's beautiful, you know. So just push in the LFA, and I think the rest is history. Then you need to list all the indicators that you'll be monitoring and evaluating. List them all, okay? As long as they're in the LFA, ideally you're supposed to monitor and evaluate all of them. All right, so it's non-negotiable, but it's always good at least we're on the same page. List all of them in this section. So the next thing is the monitoring and evaluation framework. So the monitoring and evaluation framework, guys, I feel is what is really the operationalization of the plan. And why do I say so? Because it just gives you how you'll be actually collecting all these indicators that you list here. So you have to list all the indicators here. And then it gives you the people who will be responsible for the data collection. It's just so beautiful. So I think you have to put it there. I know some other M&D plans will just end at the LFA. I don't know why, but if you are talking about operating this system, the M&D framework is the answer. And I've used it. I know what I'm talking about, guys. You have to use this format, okay? So at the end of this video, I'll be showing you where you can download this template. I'm not yet done. I want us to continue. Please stick around. So the data flow is also important, okay? So the data flow is, I like to look at it as where the source of the data is, collection, storage. But truth be told, guys, this is just me. You don't really need to have this section. I just put it there because sometimes people really can be slow at grasping the whole process. So to make it more explicit, I just felt let's put it there, but I don't think you always need to have it, because The framework, the way this framework has been designed, it's been designed to tell you exactly how the data flow will be because of this section here. Okay, so the issue is, if you have this section, you automatically know who will be responsible for collecting this related to that indicator. So now, just to be explicit in the process, I've put this, I've allowed it to, I've got it from one of our colleagues. So I think it's okay. You can actually take full advantage of that. So the evaluation component is critical, guys, because that's where the continuous learning and improvement comes in. What do we mean about the evaluation? We are simply saying, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do the assessment of our project's success or failure? So you explain clearly how this is going to be done. Mind you, you don't need to have an encyclopedia of a plan. No, that's not the point. That's why, if you come to think about it, on this website, M&D Made Simple, it's really about simplifying things, but yet maintaining the integrity of the monitoring and evaluation process. So that's one thing I want you guys to realize, that it's really good if you can understand this in the simplest way possible and yet produce the maximum results. Okay, so we go to the annex. Indicator reference sheets. I've talked about this in my videos to do with M&D plans. I've talked about this. In the annex, you need to have the indicator reference sheets, or you could have them in the main body. The whole issue is it borders around data quality. Actually, in the M&D plan, I would have included the issue of data quality audits. I would have put that in the template. But I felt that in order for us to be a little bit more simplified, let's just leave it at where it is. So the indicator reference sheets, if you have 9 indicators, you have to have 9 indicator reference sheets. So the indicator reference sheets should not be empty the way it is right now. No. When you're doing your plan, if your project has 20 indicators, you have to have those 20 indicator reference sheets in the appendix. Okay? Very good. Okay, so the budget. Very interesting as well. And I think I'll spend a little bit more time talking about this, because I know a lot of our managers around the world, they tend to get cold feet. How much should be the salaries of M&E personnel? If I asked you this question, of course you say it's dependent on the budget, which I totally agree with. It's also dependent on the country, because in many countries around the world, they have their minimum wage, okay? But I like to think about it as well, as if you did a salary survey in a country, you should be able to get an indication of how much your M&D personnel should be paid. I want to tell you this, guys. If you're a manager, if you're a director, listen to me. The salaries of M&D professionals shouldn't be, shouldn't be low. It should be at least at a moderate scale. The reason I say this is because you want to keep these people highly motivated. The work that monitoring and evaluation officers do is really hands-on. And I've been there, I know what I'm talking about. If you have somebody go and collect data, somebody enter that data, analyze it, and report on it, and you are expecting him to deliver within a shortest period of time, you surely need to give him more. Okay? So this has been talked about. I'm not saying that M&D officers should be expensive, but please take care of them. There are many things that go on. And if you look at this budget, when you're doing the budget, align it to the project goals, outcomes, and outputs. That's the best way to do it, because when you do it that way, you are justifying why certain activities should be there and should be costed. If, for instance, you're going to have these meetings, M&D meetings, how much is it going to cost to have these meetings? We're not just talking about meetings where you bring stakeholders together. We are talking about meetings where you go into the communities and you're meeting people there to collect data. This has a cost implication. The documentation has a cost implication, even the dissemination of information. Another important aspect I want to talk about is the computers, the laptops, the softwares. If your officers propose to you some of the softwares you should be using to make sure that the monitoring and evaluation process works, please listen to them, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's really you who needs to have a good system. Okay, so guys, I hope I haven't wasted your time. So now for the link is in the description below. Facebook, you simply go to the Facebook link, okay? Click the Facebook link and it will direct you to where the link to the template is. And please download it. You can edit it however you want. As you can see, it's only 12 pages. So I've been your host, Coach Alexander. Until we meet again, see you on the other side. Bye.